I'm David Midlick.
Sam Hilliard.
I'm Peyton Woodmansee.
I'm Austin Lee.
I'm Cameron Wood, and this will be your Final Four preview.
Hello. Welcome to the final and last episode as we recap the Final Four. We have Hayden Woodmansee to my right and David Midlick. We have Sam Hilliard to my left and Cameron Woods. We're about to get into this conversation. Give me your MVP for the Final Four.
My Final Four MVP is going to be Tyus Jones, who also was the MVP of the championship game against Wisconsin. He had the bigger scoring game against Wisconsin where he scored 23 points, and only 9 points against Michigan State, but he had 2 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 block, and also 2 steals.
I agree with that pick as well. David, give me yours.
All right, my MVP is going to be none other than Frank the Tank, Frank Kaminsky from Wisconsin. Stats speak for themselves. Versus Kentucky in the win, he had 20 points, 11 rebounds. The championship game, he had 21 points and 12 rebounds. He outscored Jahlil Okafor by 11, out-rebounded him by 9. I just think he was a better player overall, but Duke ended up getting the win. He stretched the floor and could have his way with against the defense, so he's my MVP.
He's going to have a great NBA career.
I disagree with that. Jahlil Okafor is a better player than me, but we can talk about that another time. Sam, give me yours.
My Final Four MVP would be the other forward for Duke, Justice Winslow, who out-rebounded and outscored Jahlil Okafor in both games. He had 19-9 against Michigan State and 11-9 against Wisconsin, and he was the more consistent player. And they needed that because Grayson Allen wasn't there in the first game, but was in the second, and same with Tyus Jones. So Justice Winslow was definitely the most consistent player.
All these shots against Jahlil Okafor, I'm not liking it. Cameron, give me yours.
I think we're just going to leave Jahlil Okafor out of this one. I also have to go with Justin Winslow, but for a different reason than Sam. I don't. When I watch games, I don't really look at the stats. I look at the plays that don't really show up in the stat book. You know, whenever it came to hustle type plays, second chance points, it always seemed to be Justice Winslow that was really making the plays for Duke and making things happen that don't necessarily show up in the stat book. So apart from the stats that he did have in the Final Four, he definitely made an impact in that way, but he also made impacts in other ways as well.
Right. All right. So, which is more surprising to you, Wisconsin beating Kentucky or how big Duke beat Michigan State?
I'm definitely going to go with Wisconsin over Kentucky. I think Wisconsin's a great offensive team. They have Frank Kaminsky and Sam Decker, but I figured the depth of Kentucky with, there's so many big men, Karl Anthony Towns and Willie Cauley-Stein, Aaron Booker, and the Harrison twins. I thought their depth would take over, but I'm definitely going to say that surprised me.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
All right, I've got to disagree with you. I'm going to say it's Michigan State getting blown up by 20 points. I thought coming into the game they were better prepared. They had the mindset. They had a very tough way coming through the tournament. I thought they'd have put up a better fight. They did have turnover problems, and Denzel Valentine had 22 points. And Duke only shot 20% from the three-point line in that game. But I didn't think they were going to win, but I thought they wouldn't get blown out like they did. So that's my surprise.
I'd have to agree with Hayden. I'm more surprised that Kentucky lost to Wisconsin, not because they looked unbeatable and then just finally lost, because they did look vulnerable before the season, but they just went cold the last 5 minutes or so against Wisconsin.
Which is really something they don't do.
And the Harrison twins, who were clutch, or Andrew Harrison, one of the two that was clutch last tournament and hit a buzzer beater to beat Wisconsin, just did not show up at the end of the game. Airballed 2 layups, I'm pretty sure. That was just not Kentucky basketball. I was really surprised about that. And on the other hand, Duke was just a way better team than Michigan State, so there's no surprise there.
Yeah, I also have to agree. I don't think Kentucky was not as good as Wisconsin. I think all year they've proven that they were able to handle the tough battles. And the Kentucky-Wisconsin was really able to prove that basketball is a game of runs. And at halftime, Wisconsin ended on a run, and it was a tie game. And really, the reason why Wisconsin won is because they were able to make the last run. But I also think they were able to go on that run because of a very controversial shot clock violation that was not called. And I think we can leave that into our next conversation.
You're getting too little ahead to yourself, all right? So speaking of refereeing, a lot of controversial calls the entire tournament. How do you feel that it was refereed, the whole tournament?
Personally, I think it was read very badly. I just think all the articles I've read about it, every comment, every post is just something about the refereeing has to be fixed. There is an obvious shot clock violation that was not called against Wisconsin. In the championship game, the ball obviously went off Winslow's hand. I think we all saw it in slow motion, maybe not in real time. and the refs went to the monitors, they looked at the replay, and they determined that the ball still didn't go off his hands. So, you gotta question when it comes to the big stage like the Final Four. You've got to be able to get these calls right, and for the referees to blow it like they did is really disappointing.
Right.
So I think they had really questionable calls in the first couple round games. When there aren't the best crews doing every game, but like the UCLA SMU game, we know Cameron was really upset about his Final Four, and that goaltending was debatable a little bit. But when it comes to the Final Four, the officials got to be the best ones to do it, and they got to get every call right, even with replay too. Even when it's clearly out of bounds on somebody and they still don't overturn it, that's when it kind of gets a little spectacle. But that's just me.
Gotcha.
All right, well, being a basketball referee in college is one of the toughest jobs, I think, in the United States. When you have 3 guys out there in the Final Four for 60,000 people, it is a tough job. But I do think that, one, the Wisconsin shot clock violation, that should have been able to be reviewed. I know there's the rule that is over 2 minutes, it can't be reviewed. I think that's got to change because it was pretty obvious. And though I don't think that lost the game for Kentucky because Kentucky went cold at the end, I think that definitely played into their loss. And Justice Winslow stepping on the line in the game and his finger touching the ball, I don't know what the referees saw, but I think that's just a blown call.
Right.
Well, I'm gonna have to go back and agree with Sam. I mean, with the first round games, you're gonna understand there's mistakes because there's so many games going on every single day. You're only gonna have X amount of referees that are great. So you're gonna have some refs that aren't as good as others, where there's gonna be blown calls in the first couple of rounds, like the UCLA and SMU game. But I do think by the time the Final Four and championship game comes around, you should have narrowed it down to the best group of referees. And a call like that where they go look at the monitor shouldn't be blown, but
I don't know how they just it on the monitor.
yeah, I mean, there's only so much you can do. But
I really feel
but overall, I thought it was
Yeah.
you can only do so much. It was human error.
I really feel like they need to change that replay agreeing with David. Well, thank you for joining us for this long and crazy ride as we have recapped from the first game to the last game of this NCAA tournament.
I'm Hayden Wickensee.
I'm David Midley.
I'm Sam Hillier.
And I'm Cameron Wood.
And I'm Austin Lee, and not a good host. All right. Thank you, and we appreciate it, and refs do better.